Hello, hi everyone. Hello. Hi everyone. Welcome to a new live stream. How's it going? ¿Cómo están? Espero que estén muy bien. I hope you're doing really well. Today we will continue learning some Spanish expressions about time. I previously talked about this, but we learned half of the vocabulary. Today we will learn the other half. So this is part 2. And yes, let's do it before we get started. Don't forget to subscribe and also click on the bell icon so you can get notified every time I live stream. Also, I want to give a big shout out to our Cafecito members, Ralph Marquez, Brianna Lee, Ruby Brockenberry, Christopher, Michael, William Lopez, David Beaver, and SC. Thank you guys. El cafecito está delicioso. Muchas gracias por el apoyo. Thank you so much for the support, guys. The coffee is delicious. I love coffee. If you want to support this channel, you can get a Cafecito membership. You only need to click on the join button down below to know more about the perks and the fee. It's a monthly fee. It's less than $3. So essentially, you're just buying me a cup of coffee. So if you're interested in that, please check that out. Click on the join button down below. Remember that I'm live streaming. So if you want to interact with me, if you want to chat with me, you can use the live chat for that. I see Mr. Steven X. Ciao. Ciao, Mr. Steven. Welcome, bienvenido. And the only thing you gotta do, you need to subscribe to this channel if you want to use the live chat. Okay, let's get started. Let's do it. Let's do it. Okay, so expressions or time expressions, expressions about time. This is easy. We're not gonna talk about telling time in Spanish because that's a different topic. We're talking about common expressions about, about time, of course. And if you want to roughly say, let's do this in the afternoon or in the morning or, later, tomorrow, and so on. So as I said before, we learned a few expressions already, so we will continue. We have around 11 expressions, so yes, that's a lot of vocabulary for sure. Okay, the first one, guys. The first expression is tarde. Tarde. Tarde means late. Also, it means afternoon. In the previous lesson, we talked about that. Not previous one, but part 1. In part 1, we learned about tarde. Tarde also means late. Tarde means afternoon, but it also means late. When you're late. So let's see how to use this expression. Tarde. Tarde. Disculpa por llegar tarde. Disculpa por llegar tarde. This means I'm sorry I'm late. So this is a great expression if you want to apologize because you're late. So disculpa means I'm sorry. Okay? Disculpa, I'm sorry. You can just say disculpa. So just by itself. And obviously that means I'm sorry. Perdón, disculpa, both mean the same thing. You can say perdón por llegar tarde or disculpa por llegar tarde. So let me show you the other one. Perdón. Perdón, or I'm going to put / disculpa. So you can use either one, okay? You can use either one. Feel free to, one time use perdón. In a different time, you can say disculpa. So it's good to have different words, to know different words that mean the same thing, because your vocabulary is rich. It will be rich. It will be great. Okay, perdón or disculpa por llegar tarde. So it's very common in Spanish. Let me tell you guys, it's very common in Spanish to have the phrase disculpa por, disculpa por, or perdón por, okay? So as I said before, you can say just by itself, perdón, disculpa, if you want to say I'm sorry. But if you want to add more to the apology, you need por, okay? Disculpa por, perdón por. And then that's similar to I'm sorry when you want to add more to the sentence. Por llegar. Llegar, we talked about this verb already. Llegar, in previous lessons, of course. Llegar, I think it was in the last lesson. I think so. Yeah, I think so. Llegar means to arrive, to get to a place, okay? So when you say llegar tarde, when you have this whole phrase, when you include this verb, llegar tarde means to arrive late or to get to a place late. So remember that if you want to say that, llegar tarde, to arrive late, to get there late, you need this. In English, you would say, I'm sorry, I'm late, okay? But in Spanish, we have disculpa por, and then we have the verb in an infinitive form. It's not conjugated. You only need the verb as is, llegar, comer, limpiar, saludar, okay? So you just need the verb in an infinitive way form, and then you have to add tarde in this situation. Llegar tarde, okay? So this is very interesting. Tarde means late, and let me just show you that this same phrase works for different situations. For example, if you paid something late, okay, you missed the payment, whatever payment, or you needed to give if you needed to pay for something and you paid later or late, you can change this. Instead of llegar, which means to arrive, you would change it to pagar. Pagar means to pay, okay? So disculpa por pagar tarde. So this phrase will work if you're paying rent late, if you missed the payment and you just want to apologize for that, you can say disculpa por pagar tarde. La renta, that will be rent. La renta. But this phrase is very flexible. This sentence is very flexible. Or you can say perdón por pagar tarde. Okay, so tarde means late. Okay, it was llegar. Excellent. So this is a great word. Let's look at the next example. Okay, the next one is no llegues tarde. No llegues tarde. This means don't be late. This is another common phrase that people say when you want to tell someone don't be late. Okay? So this is a very good phrase. No llegues tarde. This is a command. You're just telling someone to not be late. Okay, so no llegues. No llegues, it's a command, and it means don't. In this situation, we're using again llegar. And you know what this means. Llegar is used to say to arrive or to get to some place. Okay? No llegues. This means literally don't get to some place or don't arrive to some place late, tarde. Okay? In English, you say it differently. You say, don't be late. That's a common phrase in English. In Spanish, that would be, no llegues tarde. Okay? So this is another great sentence to learn. And we're using the word tarde. Tarde, remember, means late. It also means afternoon. But right now we're focusing on, how to use tarde when it means late. So far, so good so far. Mr. Steven, ¿no tienes un TikTok? I don't. I don't like TikTok. I don't like TikTok. So I don't have it on my phone. I don't have an account. No. No, thank you. I have an Instagram account. The Spanish Made Easy Instagram account. You can find it in the description, I believe, down below. I have a Facebook page as well, and a Twitter account, and just the YouTube channel. So if you want to follow me on those social media websites, whatever, or on social media, except on TikTok, because I don't use it, you can check that out. All the links are in the video description down below. Thanks for asking, Mr. Steven. Okay, the next one. Let's look at the next phrase, the next expression, rather. It might be one word. Who knows? It's one word. Temprano. Temprano is the opposite of tarde. Okay, temprano is early. Early, okay? Temprano, early. Tarde, late. So there you have it. This is very simple. Temprano means early. For example, me desperté temprano hoy. Me desperté temprano hoy. What does this mean? This means I woke up early today. I woke up early today. That's something good. That's something really good when you wake up early, except if it's on the weekends, right? But if you want to say I woke up early today, you can say me desperté temprano hoy. Now, let's break this down. Me desperté means I woke up, okay? We're using this interesting pronoun instead of yo. I mean, technically you can say yo. You can have yo here. Yo me desperté temprano hoy. But as I always say, you don't need yo all the time, or él, tú, nosotros, ellos, ellas. We don't need those pronouns all the time. But me is a pronoun that you pretty much need it. When you need to use it, you need to have it there. You need to use it for real. Okay. Me desperté means I woke up. Okay. Temprano. You know what this means. Early. Hoy. Hoy, you know what this means. Hoy means today. Hoy. Me desperté temprano hoy. You can also say hoy me desperté temprano. Okay? So when using hoy, you can use it at the beginning or at the end of sentences. So, hoy me desperté temprano. That works. Or, me desperté temprano hoy. Okay? Excellent. Let's look at the next example. Miguel nunca llega temprano al trabajo. Miguel nunca llega temprano al trabajo. That's not good. Do you know what this means? This means Miguel never gets to work early. Well, that's a problem. That's a problem, Miguel. Miguel nunca, when we say the word nunca, remember that nunca means never, okay? So we have Miguel, that's the subject, the person we're talking about. Miguel nunca, that means never. We're using, again, llegar. It's a very common verb. Llegar, you know what that means. Llegar means to arrive, to get to a place. Llega, Miguel llega, él llega, Miguel llega. So, obviously, it's conjugated. Temprano. Llegar tarde, as we said it before, llegar tarde means to be late. The opposite is llegar temprano. To be at some place early, okay? To get early. Llega temprano al trabajo. Al, remember, al is it's the result of two words. A, él. Okay? So when you have, because trabajo is masculine, okay? El trabajo. But when you have a, él, it becomes al, okay? Remember that. That's very important. Al trabajo. This means to work, okay? Miguel nunca, Miguel never. Llega temprano, gets early. Al trabajo. In this situation, to work, okay? Excellent. So remember, temprano means early. That's very important. Okay. Yes, I'm not I'm not interested in being on TikTok. I know that TikTok is really popular right now, but I'm really not interested in being there. It's just I don't like it. I really don't like it. I mean, if people want to watch my lessons, they're welcome to do it on YouTube. But I have other channels that I manage. So I'm really busy on the other channels as well. This is like my side project right now. I do this for fun. I like to, share Spanish with people, and I just want to make Spanish easy. That's all I want. And yeah, thank you though, Mr. Steven. I mean, if people can get the membership, the Cafecito membership, that's great. If not, that's okay too. That's okay too. So don't worry, Mr. Steven X. Just enjoy the lesson. Okay. The next word or phrase is en punto. Oh my God, this is another great expression. En punto. Punto in Spanish means period. When you're in grammar, it means period. Y punto. When you say y punto is like saying period. Okay, when you say, this is the best burger, period. You can say, esta es la mejor hamburguesa y punto. Y punto. Okay, so that means period. That's a great expression. It's not an expression about time, but it's a great expression. When I'm just going to put it here. Y punto. Y punto. Okay, period. En punto means something else. En punto means exactly or sharp. Okay, specifically when talking about time, when you want to be there, I don't know, at 12 o'clock. Okay, so I want you there at 12 o'clock, exactly at 12 o'clock. So en punto is great for that. For example, I can say, nos vemos a las 7 en punto. Okay? Nos vemos a las 7 en punto. This means see you at 7 o'clock. In this situation, it's very similar to saying o'clock, or, you just want to say exactly at 7 or 7 sharp, I believe. So you can say that. You can use en punto to say o'clock, exactly at 7, okay? So, nos vemos. When you say nos vemos, you can say it to say see ya, okay? When you say bye and you want to say see ya, you can say nos vemos. But also it means literally see you. Okay, I want to see you. Nos vemos. Nos vemos a las 7 en punto. This means at 7 o'clock. Okay, a las, when you want to say a las 3:30, a las 4:30, that means, like at. A las means at. Okay, so just remember that when talking about time. And in this situation, we are saying 7 o'clock. Could be in the afternoon, in the morning. You can add PM, AM, right? PM, AM, very easily. So 7 o'clock in Spanish is 7 en punto. Okay? 7 en punto. So, or 7. A las 7 en punto. 7 en punto. That's English and Spanish. 7 en punto. Okay? 7 o'clock. Excellent. The next expression, guys, is él llegó a las 10 en punto. Es muy puntual. Él llegó a las 10 en punto. Es muy puntual. That's something good. This means he arrived. Again, we're using llegar. He arrived or got here at 10 o'clock. He is very punctual. Okay? So, let's see. Let's see how this phrase works. Él llegó. So, él means he. Remember, you need the accent mark if you want to say he. Without the accent mark, it means the. Okay? El zapato. The shoe. Okay? Remember the accent mark. Él llegó. He arrived again or got here. A las, once again, a las means at. 10 en punto. 10 o'clock. Él es or es. Remember, we don't need to repeat the pronoun here in the middle because we already know that we're talking about him. Okay? Él es or es muy. Es muy, es means in this situation he is, right? Muy, very, muy. I like that word. Muy. puntual. It's the same, almost the same spelling. My brain went all crazy. Puntual, puntual, punctual. Okay, so that's something good. He's never late. That's good. That's good. Excellent. So remember, en punto is similar to saying o'clock when talking about time, and it's like saying exactly. Okay, exactly at this time, or sharp as well. Excellent. Let's move on. I just need some water. Okay, great. The next phrase or not example, what am I saying? The next expression. We have a few left, so we need to move a little fast. We need to not talk, but we need to learn this a little faster. The next word is ayer. Ayer means, remember the Y sound in Spanish can be like a Y English sound, like yellow, or it could be like a G sound, ayer, ayer, ayer. So that's something really good. Ayer means yesterday, okay? Ayer, ayer. So that's quite easy. Another easy word. Me siento mucho mejor hoy que ayer. Me siento mucho mejor hoy que ayer. What does this mean? This means I feel much better today than yesterday. Me siento mucho mejor hoy que ayer. Let's break this down. Me siento. This can mean two things. Me siento means to sit down. I'm sitting down. Me siento. Or I feel. It's quite peculiar. Me siento means I feel mucho, much mejor. Mucho mejor is a great phrase, short phrase that means much better. Okay? Mucho mejor. Much better. Hoy, today, que ayer. Than yesterday. Okay, I know que means what and that, but remember, Spanish doesn't work the same as English. So when you want to compare, you can use que for that. Okay, hoy, in this situation, we're talking, this person is comparing his or her situation with, how was yesterday and how it is today. Okay? So when you want to say, I feel much better today than yesterday, you can say, me siento mucho mejor hoy que ayer. Hoy que ayer. Excellent. Let's look at the next example. Hang on. Oops. The next example, guys, is ayer fui a trabajar. Ayer fui. That's a great sound. Fui a trabajar. Ayer fui a trabajar. This means yesterday I went to work. Ayer means yesterday, as we know. Fui means, in this situation, I went. Fui comes from to go, ir. So it's past tense. I went, fui. So once again, essentially you're saying ayer yo fui. Okay. Ayer yo fui a trabajar. Fui a, ir a, remember, fui a, ir a is a phrase that means to go to, okay, to certain places. In this situation, to work. Okay, you went to work. Okay. Also, well, you can say you can add verbs in places. Fui a la tienda. That's a place. I went to the store. Or you can have a verb. Fui a trabajar. I went to work. Okay, so we're using a verb there. We're talking about an action. Excellent. So remember, ayer means yesterday. That's a common word in Spanish. The next, we have 7 expressions. Okay. Anteayer. 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 This means the day before yesterday. Anteayer. In Spanish, we have one word. In English, it's a whole phrase. The day before yesterday. Let's look at some examples. Mi cumpleaños fue anteayer. Mi cumpleaños fue anteayer. I mean, it's one word and it sounds like I'm saying 2, but I'm just slowing down, I'm pronouncing the whole word. So, anteayer. Anteayer. The day before yesterday. What does this mean? Mi cumpleaños. Mi cumpleaños fue anteayer. This means my birthday was the day before yesterday. Mi cumpleaños. Mi means my. That's very easy. My, me. Cumpleaños. Cumpleaños means birthday. Fue. That means was. Fue. Anteayer. The day before yesterday. Okay? So this is an easy sentence. Nothing too difficult there. Let's look at the next example. Anteayer compré pan. Anteayer compré pan. Anteayer can be used at the beginning of sentences or at the end of sentences. You can also say compré pan anteayer. Or even in the first example, you can say anteayer fue mi cumpleaños. Okay? But it's a different structure. If you want to place this at the beginning, in this situation, you need to say anteayer. Okay? And we need to also move fue to this, to here. Oops. Mi cumpleaños. Okay? Anteayer fue mi cumpleaños. And that works perfectly fine as well. Okay? You can say anteayer compré pan or compré pan anteayer. And this means I bought bread the day before yesterday. Maybe someone ate all the bread and it's like, what the hell, right? Where's the bread? I bought bread the day before yesterday. So you can say, anteayer compré pan. ¿Qué pasó? What happened? Okay? Anteayer compré pan. Compré or comprar, that's the verb, comprar. Comprar means to buy. Compré means I bought. Okay? Pan means bread. I think it's the same in French. Pan. Excellent. Another easy sentence, nothing too complicated. Anteayer. Just remember, anteayer means the day before yesterday. The next one. The next expression. Let's see if this is a phrase now. Oh, it looks It looks like a phrase, a very long phrase. La noche anterior. Oh my God, I need more space. La noche anterior. Let me see if this works. Yeah, that works. That works. La noche anterior or anteanoche. So this is two terms. The first one is la noche anterior, the one at the top, right here. La noche. Oh my God. The underline is quite thick. La noche anterior. That's one term. And the second one is anteanoche. So you can use either one. Okay? They have the same meaning. So the meaning is, we need to know the meaning. What's the meaning? Oops. The night before last. Okay, so we have two different terms. Let's look at some examples to see how this works. The night before last. Okay, the first example is hablé con ella la noche anterior. This is a common term. Hablé con ella la noche anterior. The night before last. Hablé con ella. Okay. La noche anterior. This means I spoke to her the night before. Okay. Yo hablé con ella. That means I spoke to her. Spock. That is a name, Spock, from Star Trek. Yes, that's a great show. Anyway, hablé con ella. I spoke to her la noche anterior. Very simple. The night before. Once again, it's like saying yo hablé. Okay? Yo hablé. Past tense. I spoke to her. Okay? Con ella. It's like saying literally I spoke with her. Okay? I spoke with her. Ella in this situation means her, but it also means she. Okay? Hablé con ella, hablé con él, hablé con ellos, hablé contigo. So, hablar con is like saying I spoke to. Hablar con is like saying to speak to someone, right? You add the ella, a name, right? It could be a pronoun or a name. So that's something important to remember. Hablé con ella. I spoke to her. Excellent. The next phrase, the next example, we're going to use anteanoche. Okay. Anteanoche me enfermé. Anteanoche. That's quite a long word. Anteanoche. Me enfermé. This means I got sick or I didn't feel well. I was unwell the night before last. Okay? So we're technically just talking about the night before. Okay, the night before or the night before last. Anteanoche, the night before last or the night before. Me enfermé. I got sick. Me enfermé. Past tense. I got sick, right? I got unwell. I felt unwell, right? So just remember that la noche anterior, anteanoche mean the same thing, and that means the night before last or the night before. Okay? It's a long term, I would say. One is long and the other one is a bit complicated to pronounce. Anteanoche. But it's not that bad. I mean, it's not that bad. The next expression, el ... que viene. Ooh, this one is great. El ... que viene. Let's see what this one is about. This means next ... So remember, we're talking about time. What does this mean? Next what? Next Friday, next Sunday, next Monday. How do you say that in Spanish? El ... que viene. Okay? So let's look at some examples. La cita es el lunes que viene. La cita, do you know what cita means? La cita es el lunes que viene. We know that el ... que viene means next. But what does this whole sentence mean? Let's see what it means. We need to know right now. The appointment is next Monday. Cita, la cita, means appointment or date. Okay? So it's quite interesting that you can use the same word cita to refer to an appointment, to see your doctor, or a date. Just if you're dating someone, you can also use cita. La cita. La cita, the appointment, is el ... In this situation, we need a day. Lunes. And we don't need to capitalize the first letter when talking about weekdays. We don't need to. In Spanish, you don't need to. In English, you need to. But in Spanish, you don't have to. El lunes que viene. Next Monday. Okay? So that's how you use this phrase. You need to insert a day. And could be domingo, lunes, martes, miércoles, jueves, viernes. And then que viene. Also, you can use months. El enero que viene. El marzo que viene. But you would say el mes de marzo que viene. Okay? When talking about regular days, just you can say el lunes, el martes, and then just add que viene. Okay? So that's very useful for sure. When talking about time, that's very useful. The next example is el viaje es el miércoles que viene. Okay? El viaje es el miércoles que viene. Viaje. Viaje means trip. Miércoles, what day is that? What day is that? Miércoles. Let's look at the translation. The trip is next Wednesday. Okay, so this is important to know. If someone is telling you, el viaje es el miércoles que viene, you need to know, okay, when is that? Next Wednesday. Okay, we're good. El viaje means the trip, of course. El viaje, the trip, is el miércoles. We're talking about Wednesday. And again, we have el, right? ... That's miércoles, Wednesday. And then we add the rest. Que viene. Next. Okay? Next. Not this Wednesday. Next Wednesday. It's very, very important. Excellent. This one is a very good one. El ... que viene. Of course, you can change if you don't want to. I mean, if you can change this if you want to talk about months, for example, or years, or you just want to say next year, next, I don't know, January or something like that. You can do that. You can say el viaje es el. If we're talking about years, usually you say next year. Okay? So you can say el viaje es el año que viene. And that means the trip is next year. Okay? So that's good. That's good. You can also say, if you're talking about months specifically, you can say el viaje es el mes de, and then mes de enero. Or let's change it up. Let's change it to junio. Also, you don't need to capitalize. Okay. So if you say el viaje es el mes de junio que viene. So when talking about months, you have to add mes de. Month of is like saying month of June, junio, and que viene, next. So it will be like saying the trip is next June. Okay, so next June, meaning, you know, not this June, but then next month. Okay, if you want to say next month, that's different. You have to say, instead of el mes de, you need to say like that, just like that. El viaje es el mes que viene. This means the trip is next month. Like that. You're just saying next month. The trip is gonna happen. That's it. You don't have to say the month unless you have to, right? Now, you can also talk about seasons, right? Like next summer, right? So how would you do that? Very easy. El viaje es el, and then you insert the season. Verano, el verano. El viaje es el verano que viene. The trip is next summer. Okay? That's great. Or if we're talking about spring, because spring is feminine, la primavera, el viaje es, you will have to change el to la primavera que viene. And this means the trip is next spring. Okay, so specifically when talking about seasons, because when you talk about years, months, and days, you need the masculine definite article el. Okay, because when talking about that, you're saying el año, el mes, el lunes, el martes is very masculine. But when talking about seasons, you have el verano, el otoño, el invierno, and la primavera. La primavera means spring. Otoño means, I'm just going to put it here. El otoño, that means fall. Okay. Otoño, primavera, la primavera, el verano. You saw el verano already. El verano means summer, right? Like I said before. And winter. How do you say winter in Spanish? You say el invierno. Remember the V sound, V as in Victor, in Spanish is very similar to the B as in bell. Okay? El invierno, invierno. Okay? So, el viaje es el invierno que viene. The trip is, in this situation, not summer, is next winter. Okay? So, great. This is a very useful phrase. You gotta learn it for sure. Okay, we have 4 more. Oh boy. Okay, let's move on. The next expression is it's similar to the previous one, but it's the opposite. El ... pasado. El ... pasado. Okay, so what does this mean? It's the opposite. Last ... Last summer, last year, last month, last Monday, and so on. So let's see. You use it pretty much the same as the previous one, but yeah, you pretty much use it as the previous one, but we're talking about last, right? La fiesta fue el lunes pasado. La fiesta fue el lunes pasado. This means the party was last Monday. Okay. La fiesta means, you know what that means? That means party. Woo! Or the party. La fiesta. La fiesta. The party fue. Past tense was el ... Lunes, in this situation, we are saying lunes, and then pasado. We placed Monday right in the middle, and when you have el lunes pasado, that means last Monday. Okay? It's very easy. It works similar to el ... que viene, but it's the opposite. Just remember that. The next example is: teníamos que ir el jueves pasado. Teníamos que ir el jueves pasado. This means we had to go last Thursday. We missed the appointment or whatever event or trip or something. You missed it. Teníamos que ir. Teníamos comes from the verb to have. When you say tener que, to have to do something, right? Teníamos que is similar to saying, or it means, teníamos que means we had to. Okay, you had to do something. What was that? Ir, go, el jueves pasado. El jueves pasado. This means last Thursday. Okay? Once again, we just inserted the day right between el and pasado. And that becomes, in this situation, last Thursday, because we're talking about jueves. Jueves. Excellent. Same thing. You can say, you can talk about years or a year, the last year, right? Last year. So you can just say el año pasado. Same thing. El año pasado. Last year. Okay? Or el mes pasado. Last month. Okay? Once again, we can use seasons as well. El verano pasado. Last summer. And don't forget, when talking about spring, you need to change el with la. Primavera. Primavera. Teníamos que ir la primavera, and you need to, match the gender. If, all adjectives need to have the same gender in quantity. Is it plural, singular, feminine, masculine? So primavera is feminine, so you need pasada. Teníamos que ir la primavera pasada. We had to go last spring. I believe you have to capitalize seasons in English too. Okay. So remember, el pasado means last when talking about time. Excellent. Next. If you have any questions, please feel free to use the live chat. Okay. The next phrase, the next expression is la semana que viene. Oh, okay. We talked about months, years, seasons, days, weekdays, weekdays. So, la semana que viene, we're talking about weeks. Next week. Okay, so same as before. El que viene, or el pasado. The same thing, but we're specifically talking about week. Remember, semana is feminine, so you gotta have la semana que viene. Next week. For example, yo no sé si yo puedo ir contigo la semana que viene. Yo no sé, or no sé. We don't need yo, but it's fine. You can have it. If you want to say it, you can say it. Yo no sé si yo puedo ir contigo la semana que viene. This means I don't know if I can go with you next week. Yo no sé. Yo no sé. Let's see how this phrase works. This sentence. Yo no sé, or no sé, means I don't know. Si without the accent mark means if. Okay? With the accent mark means yes. Si yo puedo ir. If I can go contigo. Contigo means with you. La semana que viene. The whole phrase. La semana que viene. Next week. Okay? So, same. It's the same for this sentence. You don't need yo. You don't need yo here. So you can say, no sé si puedo ir contigo la semana que viene. You don't need yo there, but I put it here so you see exactly word by word what I mean. Yo no sé si yo puedo ir contigo la semana que viene. So it's quite long. When you remove yo, it becomes shorter. Right? No sé si puedo ir contigo la semana que viene. Same thing. Same thing. Okay. The next example. We're almost done. We have 2 more expressions. Vamos a la playa la semana que viene. Vamos a la playa la semana que viene. This means let's go to the beach next week. Who doesn't like to go to the beach? right? It's something very special. It's really nice to see the sea, it's beautiful. Vamos a la playa. This means let's go to the beach. Vamos is a very common expression that means let's go. So you can say vamos, vamos, just by itself, or vámonos, or vamos, and that means let's go. Okay? A la playa. When you say vamos a, remember ir a means to go to some place specifically. And in this situation, we're talking la playa. La playa means the beach or beach, right? La semana que viene. The whole, oops, that's a long underlining. La semana que viene. Again, we're using this long expression, but that means next week. Okay? So if you're trying to go somewhere with someone, you can use, if you want to say next week, you can use la semana que viene. Excellent. Hello, KS, welcome. El año pasado tuve un accidente automovilístico. Ooh. Wow. I hope you're okay, KS, or is that just an example? It's a correct example. It's correct. La próxima semana voy a la playa. That's a great example. You can use la próxima semana. That's like saying next week is the same as la semana que viene, but it's just a different way to say it. La próxima semana. So you can say la semana que viene or la próxima semana. Next week. Both phrases mean the same thing. So thanks for sharing, KS. So if you want to use this, la próxima semana, no sé si puedo ir contigo la próxima semana. Okay, so you can say either way. It means the same thing. The same thing. So there you go. You have two different ways to say the same thing. So that's good. That's good. Now, the next one, guys. We have only two left. The next one is, let's see what we have. Oops, that's a big circle. La semana pasada. So this means, you already saw what it means, last week. So that's the opposite. La semana que viene, la próxima semana, that means next week. The opposite is la semana pasada, last week. For example, nos vimos la semana pasada, or nosotros nos vimos la semana pasada. I'm not using the pronoun there. Nosotros means we, right? So this means we saw each other last week. Nos vimos. Nos vimos means we saw each other. Literally, we saw each other. Nos vimos. We saw each other la semana pasada. Last week. Okay? Very easy. Nothing complicated there. La semana pasada means last week. La semana pasada fue maravillosa. So you're just talking about your last week. How was it? If someone says, ¿Cómo fue la semana pasada? Or ¿Cómo te fue la semana pasada? Like, how did it go last week, right? Maybe you went on a trip. Maybe you did something special. So if you want to say la semana pasada fue maravillosa, or that means last week was wonderful. If you want to say that, last week was wonderful, you say it this way in Spanish. La semana pasada fue maravillosa. Maravillosa means wonderful. Wonderful. And remember, we're saying maravillosa. Maravillosa because we're talking about semana. Semana is feminine. That's why we need maravillosa. Okay? Maravillosa. La semana pasada, last week, was maravillosa. Wonderful. Wonderful. You can also say fue maravillosa. La semana pasada fue maravillosa or fue maravillosa la semana pasada. Okay, so once again, it's flexible. You can have la semana pasada at the end or at the beginning of sentences. So that's good. That's good. That works. It's great. Remember, la semana pasada means last week. Lastly, we have one more. One more, guys. Durante el día. Durante el día. What does this mean? Durante el día. Durante el día means during the day. Okay, so something happened during the day. Durante el día. During the day. For example, tú duermes durante el día. Tú duermes durante el día. This means you sleep during the day. Tú duermes. Once again, we don't need tú. So no tú. We don't need it, but you can have it. Duermes durante el día. You sleep during the day. Okay, so maybe someone works at night. They need to sleep during the day. So if you're just saying you sleep during the day, you can say duermes durante el día. Or you can change it to yo duermo durante el día. And that means I sleep during the day. Okay? If you're talking about yourself. You can remove yo and you can say duermo durante el día. I sleep during the day. Okay? So this is another helpful phrase about time. And we have the last example. Hace calor durante el día. Hace calor durante el día y mucho frío durante la noche. Durante. We use durante twice. So you can have durante el día or durante la noche. This means, it's warm during the day and very cold at night. You're just describing, the temperature during the day and at night. When you say durante la noche, it's like saying at night, okay? But you're talking about, the whole night. Not only certain time, you're talking about the whole night. Durante el día, durante la noche. Let's break this down. I'm sorry, I'm starting to cough. I apologize. I need more water. Okay. Hace calor is a common expression that means it's warm. When you are like, oh my God, it's so warm, or it's warm, you can say hace calor. Hace calor. I need water. Necesito agua. Hace calor. I need water. It's warm. Also, well, you can have it as part of a longer sentence. You can say hace calor durante el día. That means it's warm during the day. Okay? And mucho frío. You can also say, hace mucho frío. But because we have it already here, we don't need to repeat it again. But you can say hace calor durante el día y hace mucho frío, but you don't need it because you already have it here. Y mucho frío, and it's very cold or very cold. Hace mucho frío, that means it's very cold, okay? Hacer means to do or to make, but when talking about weather, it's very commonly used in expressions. Hacer calor, it's to be warm. Hacer frío, to be cold, okay? Specifically when talking about weather. Hace calor, it's warm. Hace frío, it's cold, okay? So that's something important to remember. Durante la noche, at night, or during the night. That's the literal translation. But in English, you commonly say at night. So, interesting how durante el día means during the day, but also you can talk about the night. You can also talk about the afternoon. So you can say durante la tarde. Remember, tarde means afternoon and late. We talked about that specific word at the beginning of the lesson. Durante la tarde means in the afternoon. But you're talking about the whole afternoon, okay? The whole day or morning, rather. Then the whole afternoon, if you're saying durante la tarde, and you're talking about the whole night if you're talking about, or if you're using durante la noche, okay? Specifically. Okay, do you have any questions, guys? Any questions? Please feel free to use the live chat. Okay. Oh, I'm glad, Kayes, that you're okay. That's great. Cuando trabaja durante la noche, dormí durante el día. Are you talking about working during the day? When I used to work at night, I used to sleep during the day. Cuando trabajaba durante la noche. Okay. When you're talking about working, cuando trabajaba, it's technically correct. You can say cuando trabajaba durante la noche. Dormía durante el día. Dormía. That's the only change that I would make. Dormía instead of dormí. It's a great example. Thanks, Kayes. Yeah, we just talked about at night. Oh, one night. What about de una noche? De una noche? I'm not sure. De la noche a la mañana. De la noche a la mañana. Oh, that's a great expression. De la noche a la mañana. That means suddenly. When something happens suddenly, out of the blue. It's like saying out of the blue. De la noche a la mañana. So it's a great expression. It's not specifically talking about time. It's just like an idiom or like a common expression to say suddenly. Yeah, that's a great example. I mean, great phrase que es, great expression. De la noche a la mañana. Lindsay, anteayer la temperatura en mi ciudad era 20 grados. Wow. That's not bad. That's actually, if it's 20 degrees Celsius, 20 degrees Celsius, that's great. That's great weather. Fue maravillosa. La temperatura fue maravillosa. Ayer y hoy eran solo 2 grados y fríos. ¿Y fríos? Y días fríos. Ok. También había un poquito de nieve durante el día. El tiempo ha estado loco. Great example. I mean, great, I would say paragraph. It's quite long. It's great, Lindsay. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, weather is crazy nowadays. Yeah. El clima está loco. Últimamente está loco. Yeah, totally. I hear you for sure. Thanks, Lindsay, for sharing. And that's it. Well, thank you so much for being here, for just learning Spanish. It's almost, over an hour. This lesson was long. It's been over an hour, and thank you so much for being here, for tuning in, for watching this live stream. I appreciate you. Thank you for interacting with me. And that's it. I hope you learned quite a few important, all of these phrases or expressions are really important. They're very commonly used. And yes, you should learn them all and practice. That's the best way to learn a language. By practicing, you can learn a language really easily. Thank you so much again. Remember that I have a server on Discord. It's a Spanish community. You can find the link in the video description down below. It's free. Feel free to join and talk about Spanish in English and in Spanish. So yeah, you can join for free. The only thing is that you need to read the rules. They're very important. Before joining the server, please read the rules. Also, if you like this lesson, please give it a like. That helps me a lot. And thanks for watching. I'll see you next Tuesday. Bye-bye. Adiós. Hasta la próxima. Hasta la próxima semana. Or hasta la semana que viene. Adiós.